Hey, Phil from Got Memories here. In this video, I'm going to talk about a very common problem that many people have, which are they've got all these videotapes and there's nothing written on them. So it could be blank. It could be the birth of their first child. It could be Christmas days. It could be, loved ones that have passed away. They just don't know because they didn't take the time to label them, which is about 50% of the tapes I get in are unlabeled. Now, what I do, which is very unique and not common in this very weird, problematic industry that everyone just thinks is created equal from company to company, and it could not be further from the truth. Now, let's say here, on these tapes. Now, one of them is labeled, and anybody that gives me tapes that are labeled, I translate whatever's written on them as best I can, reading chicken scratch, into the file descriptions, which any quality-driven, conscious-driven, transfer professional, company or individual or otherwise, should be doing. Now, there are different tiers of companies out there that will and won't do certain things. And most companies go to the lowest common denominator, and lazy, cheap, you get what you pay for. So you end up getting crap transfers, can't watch them, fuzzy, footage missing, jumping picture, audio you can barely hear, crackling audio, pixelation, half of the tape missing, tapes missing, files missing. I've heard it all over the 22 years I've been doing this. So this video is going to show you what a transfer company should be doing if you're paying them the actual correct rate, which none of this $9, $15, $20 a tape junk. Forget about it. You got to remember, these tapes in the early 80s, VHS tapes cost, $25 for a blank tape. And you think for $9, 40 years later, you're going to be getting a crystal clear quality picture back. Forget about it. Forget about it. Anyway, so what I do and what transfer companies should be doing is some data mining. Now, I've labeled all of these. There were no indicators on, order or anything. So just give them stickers, 1, 2, 3, 4, randomly, okay? And then I go through them, and you use a little bit of common sense. So I click on every single file and boom. Now, this isn't typical with every single videotape, is having the date stamp on the screen, okay? So sometimes now with mini DV, you can turn the date stamp on, and you've got to check to make sure it's correct, because it could be off because the customer didn't, or you didn't set the date and time correctly when you bought the camera. But you can always tell if it's right, because look, this is Halloween 1996. The kids are all dressed up trick-or-treating, etc. And then it goes through, Thanksgiving, and then you got Christmas, okay? So naturally, what would you do? You just give it Halloween through Christmas 1996. And it's amazing how many companies don't do this. Right here. So I haven't finished going through them all right now, but as you start to look, I start to develop a timeline. And then what I do is I reorder everything so it's all in chronological order. Now, let's say it's not correct. Something isn't correct. It doesn't matter, because on the customer's end, you can just rename it whatever you want. But it is just a nice feature for anyone looking to get this done, to just less things for you to do and figure out. So like number 6 right here, there's nothing written on it, but that looks like Niagara Falls. And then it goes September 94. You can see right here, September 94. And then September 10th is a football game. So you'd write Niagara Falls, September 94, football game, that kind of thing. And then just put that in there. It's that, it does take more time, and it takes some care and attention to detail. But that is the telltale sign of a transfer company that you want to hand over your stuff to. So if you are shopping around, make sure they've got YouTube videos. Make sure via Google Maps they've got amazing reviews. I'm not here to ram me down your throat. I'm busy as it is. But definitely if you're wherever you are in the world, or if you've got, or if you're in the US, you want to look around, you want to go local, make sure you check Google Maps, not Google, because it's just loaded with ads. But Google Maps will show you the true review count. And you want to see a 5.0 or thereabouts with a lot of reviews. I think I've got about 350 something right now, which is extremely hard to get anybody to leave a review. I'd say 1 in 100 customers leaves a review. 1 in 10 go, I'm going to leave you a review. Oh my God, you send them the links and they don't. But it's just the nature of the beast. But if you are shopping around, make sure they're doing all this kind of stuff. You get what you pay for. And that's it. But if you're doing this yourself, like I say to everyone, you're going to need 3 to 5 VCRs. You're going to need cleaning cloths. You're going to need chamois tips. You're going to need acetone. You're going to need the instruction, well, I don't say the instruction booklet, but you got a lot of patience and little tiny screwdrivers, because there's going to be some adjustments. All these tapes all have their problems. Oxides coming off the tapes, they're depositing onto the video heads, and that's where you get all the tracking issues. I've got to, like this particular job, the customers just had awful quality on their VCR. And when I was putting them in, they were problematic. I worked through them, cleaned the heads. Everything was clogging the video heads. I don't know where they stored them, but hopefully you stored them in the house, not in the garage, not in a humid attic, not, flood damage. I mean, all that kind of stuff, mold. All this stuff you have to remember is getting older and older, and you hand over a 35, 40-year-old videotape and expecting this thing to just be perfect, and it hasn't been played in as much time. Maybe in 1998 you got it out and played it. And other than that, it's been sat in the closet or hopefully indoors in climate control. And now you're having to play this thing, even if you pop it in a VCR and you rewind it, and hopefully it doesn't snap. Because these things are an absolute pig to take to pieces sometimes, and splice them back together, etc. But you rewind it, you hit play, and it looks fine. And most people go, oh, looks perfectly fine. And that's only 10 seconds. I'm like, let that thing roll to the end. And also, if you record it in standard play, long play, extended play and long play on these tapes can be a challenge. You have to sit there and just with the tracking and balance them out. A couple of tapes here. This is one here. This customer had, let's see, is it gonna go? You can see all these like streaky lines. I don't know why this isn't playing. Oh, there we go. But look at this. This is not acceptable. Also, audio has to be really loud. All I see from companies that I redo work from again and again is just you can barely hear the audio because they're not boosting the audio, or they're ripping it from DVDs. And then you get this back as well. Now, this was through my VCR, right? And I realized, okay, the head's dirty because everything before it was perfectly fine. Few little glitches here and there, but then the moment, okay, so here we go. It's perfectly fine right here. And then it goes to crap. And the moment it goes over to that other scene, because maybe they've had the camcorder stored for a year, 6 months, in the garage, in the car, in the heat, the tape has like, just embalmed itself onto the video head. I don't know, different things. Humidity was a big problem, but you think, oh no, it's just the way it is. And I tell you, 99 out of 100 transfer companies are going to hand that back and be like, sorry, your tape's going crap. It's okay in pieces, and people buy that excuse. But I had to redo that tape, and I'll show you right here. Let's see. Okay, look. PC07 issue, second half. So I just redid the entire tape. I was going to redo the half of it, and I was like, oh God, I'm just going to redo the entire tape. So as you can see here now, this is the exact same, different VCR, and it's all good. This is the same footage, and there are issues here and there, but this is a damn sight better than what it was. But yeah, so you've got to do all this investigative stuff to make sure it's coming through, because it's all this stuff is a pain in the ass. And you've got to, if you're not paying a good dollar amount where you kind of go, then you know it's going to be half-assed. For those of us out there that are charging the worth and the time involved in making sure all this stuff is done correctly, you know, it's way less than what people paid for the cameras and stuff back in the day. But I mean, it's a fair rate, but you got to, this $9, $10, $15 a tape stuff, forget about it. It just, you know, and if you look on iMemories, on their ads on social media, you see the owner and he's like, shows all these banks of VCRs and there's no monitors for anything. So they're just putting them all in, hit and play, and it's capturing with little things. And maybe somebody, one of the hourly employees that don't really care, aren't paying attention. They don't check anything. I've seen other companies where they give a rap sheet and they're like, oh, this tape had this problem. This tape, there were problems with the digital copy. Of course there are, because the analog player was dirty or defective. No one cleaned it. No one adjusted the tracking or anything. And they're just looking at the digital copy going, oh, it's a problem with digital copy. Meanwhile, that was your tape's problem. No, it's 95 times out of 100, it's the player. It's the tape, yes, but the tape is affecting the player. And so you've got, sometimes I'm redoing these damn tapes multiple times over. And yes, I'm monitoring them, but you're not sitting there with popcorn watching these damn things, just going like, oh. But you've got to really know what you're doing in digital file management as well, making all these files are there, the customer's files, not someone else's files, but that particular customer. Can't be sitting there fiddling through TikTok or with the headphones on. You have to have silence and focus. That's why I have the front door of the shop locked, and that, you know, I've got that curtain up right there, is just to like, so it's quiet, it's focused, there's no distractions. Because you can just drag the wrong folder or the wrong file into the wrong folder, and you get other people. That's why people get other people's stuff back. And they're like, this isn't my family. And then, you know, and they're like, oh, yeah, it is. It's your stuff. No. Or they don't receive anything back, and they just get an email going, sorry, over the last 4 months, we seem to have misplaced your entire family history. And sorry, send. That's it. I mean, that happens. Woo! But yeah, that's why you have, I don't know. But anyway, if you're in this mix and you're trying to find somebody reliable to do this stuff that's gotten great reviews, cares, takes pride in their work, gotmemories.com, Phil, that's me. If you're searching around, like I said, Google Maps, and hopefully YouTube as well. So at least you can see the premises where it's done. You can look into the eyeballs of the person that's going to be transferring your stuff and go, are they full of crap, or do they know what they're doing? Blah, blah, blah. All that YouTube stuff. Anyway, all the best to you out there. And yeah, enough of my rambling. Cheers.